They said the stars would bring answers, but no one imagined one would crash into a lonely man's wheat field in the dead of night. When Tom saw the glowing ship burn across the sky, he didn't know it carried something that would change the fate of two species. An alien dying in his arms, a secret mission hidden behind black eyes, and a choice no human was ever meant to make: love or the survival of an entire civilization. This is how one man became the first father of a new world. Before we dive into this extraordinary HFY story, hit that like button if you love deep sci-fi with heart. Subscribe for more powerful tales where humanity proves it's more than just flesh and bone. It is courage, compassion, and choice. And hey, share this with someone who believes that sometimes love really can save a world. It began on a quiet night, the kind of silence that stretches across empty farmlands and makes the world feel forgotten. Tom had just finished closing the barn when a streak of fire cut across the horizon. It wasn't like any meteor he'd ever seen. This one pulsed, alive, deliberate, before crashing into his north field with a thunder that shook the earth itself. Instinct pushed him forward before logic could catch up. He ran through the golden wheat, his boots slicing through smoke and dust. The air was heavy with the scent of burnt ozone, and then he saw it. A ship. Not metal, not stone. Something between both. It was cracked open, hissing faint vapor, and beside it, sprawled on the dirt, was her. Purple skin, hair that shimmered like liquid turquoise, eyes as dark as the void between stars. She was bleeding, blue blood that pulsed faintly in the moonlight. Tom froze. His mind screamed impossible, but his heart moved. He knelt beside her just as her lips parted. "Don't call the military," she whispered in perfect English before collapsing. Tom's hand hovered over his phone, but deep down he knew if he called for help, she'd be dissected before dawn. So he lifted her. She was lighter than she should have been, like her bones were hollow, bird-like. He carried her through the wind and dust, back to the home that had felt far too empty since Sarah left him 5 years ago. He laid her on the couch. Her chest rose shallowly, and the strange, rhythmic pulse beneath her skin flickered like bioluminescence. Suddenly her eyes opened. "There's a medical kit, ship, compartment B7. He didn't question. He ran back through the field, heart pounding, found a silver box marked with symbols that looked half mathematical, half alive. Inside were devices that made no sense to human hands. "Inject this, here." She pointed to her neck. Tom hesitated only a moment. Then he did it. The wound began to close before his eyes, the blue blood retracting like it had never existed. Later, she'd call them nanobots. But that night, it felt like magic. He sat awake until dawn, watching the alien on his couch breathe. Every so often, her skin shimmered like a heat mirage, shifting hues as though her body couldn't decide what color to be. He wondered who she was, and what kind of fool he was for bringing her home. When morning came, the world outside looked the same, but everything inside Tom's house had changed forever. He was making bacon when she stirred. The faint hum of her voice drifted through the kitchen doorway. "I don't eat meat," she said softly. "Are eggs acceptable?" Tom blinked. The way she said it, calm, logical, yet strangely polite, made him laugh. "Eggs are fine," he said. She moved with deliberate grace, analyzing everything like it was new. The chair, the pan, the light on the counter. Her eyes flickered with curiosity, not fear. "My name's Tom," he offered. She tilted her head slightly. "Designation Zara 7, but you can call me Zara." Her words were clean and exact, but there was something fragile in them. When he asked where she came from, she hesitated, long enough for truth to feel heavy. "Do you know the Kepler 442b system?" Tom shook his head. "Then the details wouldn't matter," she murmured. She ate slowly, studying every bite as if decoding a chemical formula. A small device on her wrist blinked continuously, like it was recording everything. Tom tried to sound casual. "Your ship's damaged?" The emergency beacon is active. My people will come in approximately 30 solar rotations. You mean a month? Yes, in Earth terms. She said it like it was nothing. But Tom's chest tightened. A month. That meant she was staying. Outside, he worked the fields just to keep busy, to feel something normal again. But every time he looked toward the house, he could feel her eyes watching him from the window, that blinking device capturing every motion, every detail. That night when he returned, the kitchen was spotless, but not the way he remembered it. Every utensil was reorganized. It's much more efficient this way, she said simply. He couldn't help but smile. Haven't had anyone touch my kitchen in 5 years. Why do you live alone? She asked. He hesitated. My wife left, said I loved the land more than her. Was she correct? He laughed softly. Yeah, she was. Her gaze softened then, and the device on her wrist flickered brighter, recording his words with unusual attention. In my world, she said, no one lives alone. We are collective, a hive of minds and hearts. We share a purpose. And what's your purpose here? She brushed a golden stalk of wheat with her hand. For an instant, it shimmered purple, then turned back to gold. That information, she said, is classified. Tom stared at the stalk, still glowing faintly in the dusk, and for the first time in his life, he realized he wasn't just looking at something alien. He was standing on the edge of something that might change everything. Days turned into weeks. Zara stayed, and life on the farm began to feel strangely alive again. Tom had grown used to the silence, but now it was filled with her quiet questions, her odd laughter, her unearthly hums at night as she stared up at the stars. One evening, while thunder rolled on the horizon, she looked uneasy. What's wrong? He asked. The air pressure. It feels unstable, she said, glancing at her device. A storm is approaching. Welcome to Kansas. Tom smiled, but she didn't laugh. When the wind began to howl, he saw genuine fear flash through her black eyes. He grabbed her hand. Come on. They ran through the storm, lightning splitting the sky like the wrath of old gods. The barn shelter groaned as they shut the heavy door behind them. In the darkness, flashes of blue light pulsed beneath Zara's skin, her veins glowing faintly as if her body was alive with electricity. It's my first Earth storm, she whispered. Tom smiled through the roar. We're not gonna die, promise. You don't have enough data to conclude that. He laughed, and so did she for the first time since she'd fallen from the sky. When the wind finally calmed, they sat in silence, their hands still entwined. She turned off her wrist device slowly, deliberately. My real mission, she said softly, is not observation. Tom's heartbeat quickened. Then what is it? To evaluate Earth for colonization. He froze. You're scouting us? Yes. My people's world is dying. We need a new home. Tom stared at her, this alien who had fixed his kitchen, laughed at his storm jokes, and studied his heart without meaning to break it. And now? He asked. Now. She hesitated, voice trembling. Now you are the complication in my data. She showed him her ship that night. Inside, holographic panels floated in the air, maps of Earth, recordings of him, readings of air, soil, and emotion. Then she touched a control, and the holograms changed. Her planet appeared. Kepler 442b, a red sun swelling, swallowing the edges of a dying world. Cities under domes, oceans boiling, lives fading. We are running out of time, she said quietly. We needed to confirm if humans and Xeranians could coexist. Tom stepped closer. And what's your conclusion? Her gaze lifted to meet his. With you they can. He didn't think. He just leaned in and kissed her. Her lips were cool, tasting faintly like ozone and mint. But she pulled back gently. If I report emotional involvement, she said, they will replace me. Someone colder will come. Someone who won't hesitate to take this planet. So what do we do? Nothing. I'll tell them Earth isn't suitable. They'll search elsewhere. Tom stared at her, realizing what that meant. You'd doom your entire species for us? She smiled faintly. For your freedom. For your right to choose your destiny. For a long time, neither spoke. The only sound was the hum of alien machinery and the faint rhythm of two hearts, one human, one not, beating in uncertain harmony. Day 30 arrived too soon. The rescue ship descended in a wash of blue light across the golden wheat. Tom had already sold the farm, signed the papers, and left behind the life that no longer fit him. Come with me, Zara said for the 10th time that morning. Please. Tom smiled. I was already packing. She blinked in surprise. You would leave Earth? Sarah once said I loved the land more than anything, but she was wrong. He glanced up at the descending ship. It wasn't the land I loved. It was solitude. Until you. When the hatch opened, he turned for one last look at the wheat fields swaying beneath two suns. Then he stepped inside. Earth fell away, a shrinking marble of blue and memory. The purple wheat grows taller under twin suns. Zara adapted the seeds, Tom adapted the soil. The two of them, farmer and alien, became the first caretakers of a shared world called TI-715b. And they weren't alone anymore. 20 more couples came after them, humans and Xeranians who believed in coexistence, not conquest. Tom looks out over endless fields that shimmer between gold and violet. His digital file now reads, Day 389 without isolation. Zara, radiant under the alien sky, is pregnant. Their child, human, Xeranian, or something entirely new, will be the first native of a world that never existed before love made it real. And as Tom watches the two suns rise, he whispers softly, sometimes love really does fall from the sky. If that story touched something inside you, don't forget to like this video, because it helps more people discover these human-first sci-fi stories that remind us what makes our species so incredible. Subscribe for more tales of courage, compassion, and humanity, shining in the cold void of space. And tell me in the comments, if you were chosen to repopulate a new world, what kind of future would you build? Because remember, sometimes humanity's greatest power isn't technology, it's heart.